All right. Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And as always, welcome back to our Misadventures Continued. We are going to be continuing on in our Misadventures Continued as appropriate. But first, announcements. Let's get them out of the way like we always do. Less than 5 minutes. You can time me. Here we go. As far as announcements, we're going to be doing the updates on the webpage slowly. I'm having to do the updates because the people that, and I explained this in an announcement video before this came out, so you guys know this a little bit if you watched it. The webpage, the people I have working with my webpage is a local company, and they lost 4 people in the span of a month, so they are really backlogged on a lot of their stuff. So I'm going to do what I can on the webpage to update it graphically, but that will have to be done at my pace until they get caught up with what they're doing. That's no big deal, but it does mean that if you want to support us, you need to go directly to Patreon, Subscribestar, or hopefully I'll have a locals worked around soon for you to be able to do that. That's the main announcement for the channel. Do watch for the collaborative content coming out next month that we filmed last month, so that it will all look good for y'all. Think that's everything, though. Not a lot of announcements this time, so let's go ahead and get into it. We have our normal crew today. So we've got,
including our new member.
Well, we've got
Habiki.
We've got Kaisar, of course, Shield Boy, and then Habiki, played respectively by Adonijah, and then me, running Shield Boy, and Illyanna running Habiki. So that is what we've got for today. And if you remember, here's our in case you don't remember, here's our recap for last time. So last time the group left out with Moon in a caravan on going up to High Hill, and this was at Moon's request. He was going up there to speak with the Duke there, and the whole situation about stuff that had gone on, strange things had gone on. So the group had been requested by Moon to go up with him, or at least Kaisar and Shield Boy had, because of how they helped him in the off-screen stuff that happened.
And then some cat comes along. It's like, hey, yo, I'm gonna be traveling with you guys,
Silently joins you.
Well, a black cat with emerald eyes, emerald green irises, and a witch hat on that seems to be made kind of shadow or something like that, has also joined in and has been sitting mostly relaxing on Shield Boy's lap during the trip. But that's about it. Until the battle came along, of course. And there was the battle with the bandits. And that went on and took place during the trip to High Hill. Now, they were able to pretty handily take care of the bandits. They did do a little bit of focus firing on Moon, and that did cause some damage. But other than that, there was no real problem.
We never finished it. Remember? You left it on a cliffhanger.
The encounter? No, I left it after you had beat the encounter, and then the main... one of the veteran bandits had been captured. Away. Yeah, some ran away, and then a veteran bandit had been captured after Moon and Shield Boy smacked him. So, that's actually not far from where we're going to pick up. We're going to pick up this time where it has come to evening. The group continued on its journey. The caravan continued on its journey, and there weren't any casualties within the caravan. Moon took care of the front, and then the center and tail end were protected by both Shield Boy and Kaisar, so there weren't any actual casualties on the caravan side, which was good. The bandits bit off a bit more than they could chew in that one. However, there was that bandit that was captured, And do you think Moon is planning to question them, has planned to question him and stuff like that? And during that questioning, there was brought out, and I'm not sure that you guys would be present or not, or if you'd be kind of on guard or something like that. So you guys can kind of tell me in that. But Moon has been, and if people remember, just for those that don't, Moon is Adonijah's older character that is a bit ahead of the rest of his current character, and is a fox boy that is destined to become the guardian spirit of the guardian of the Fey Woods where he's from, and has awoken into his guardian form. So that's why he's able to handily take care of the front part while the others took care of the rest. He has questioned the bandit, and based on what has been gleaned from the bandit, who was not very cooperative, he's like, no, I'm good, you can't make me talk, type of thing. And then he was reminded about Kaisar's transformation and all those things, and it was kind of like, maybe I should talk before that monster comes back. So that was used by Moon to persuade him into divulging information. So that was effective when he used that. And it was gleaned by Moon and the other interrogators that the collapse of people, the people disappearing and stuff like that, was not unique to Crosstown. And the messengers from High Hill already knew that, but they didn't realize how far it had gone, because the messengers from High Hill thought it was just High Hill, Lordstown, Lord's Farm, and the center portion of, well, Crosstown. However, some of these bandits had come all the way from the Iron Stronghold, and some of them, they had kind of found each other and regrouped with each other during this period where people were waking up, and entire towns all over the dukedom, all over the southern colony, were just either missing, or many people were asleep, or stuff like that. And those weird moments of waking up, and some people waking up but not remembering a lot of things either. So all of that has happened, and that was gleaned from the idea, from what was gained from the bandit. And apparently this has happened at least as far as the Iron Stronghold, maybe all the way to Minetown. And there's not really towns on the way to the onto the woods, where the Enchanted Woods where Moon is from, but there are people there.
Like tribal? Like tribe things?
Well, it's more like small settlements, like a few people, or a farm here and a farm there, or an outskirt there, an outskirt here, where people were. And even those places have either faded or disappeared, or people have not been there. It's just been deserted. There's not a lot of knowledge gained after that on how this might have happened or what it means, but there is this mystery that is now being posed. What was this event? What went on to cause all this? These people to basically go to sleep, and then some just disappear and not wake up, or not be there, or stuff like that. So that's mainly what the messengers and Moon are most concerned about. So, is there anything that y'all would want to do on the final stretch to Crosstown, aside from just kind of getting that
those
info?
Bandits.
Okay. Well, the bandits. Why don't y'all both roll me a percentage roll, and I'll roll a percentage roll as well. We will see what all you guys are able to find out find from that.
This one and this one, Daddy?
That's both of the D10s.
Okay. Okay.
You have to announce it towards the mic.
What's this, Daddy?
39.
39.
That's not very good.
Well, it's 39. And what do you got, sis?
7?
It's a 00 and a 7.
That's 7.
That means 7. So 7. Habiki is far too distracted with a bird she's trying to catch to catch and eat. She sees this blue jay up there. She's like, blue jay. So she's far too distracted between that and the firelight. She's busy catching the blue jay. What? Speak towards the mic.
I never even said I wanted to do the same thing Adonijah did in the first place.
Well, this was for loot from the bandits.
I'd rather catch a bird than loot people's stuff.
Well, you definitely did catch a bird. Alright, and then Shield Boy. Oh, that's the wrong one to go with that. Right. 16. Shield Boy does manage to find... between Shield Boy and... between Shield Boy and Kaisar, not Habiki, unfortunately, but that will. There's some gold that's found and some trinket type stuff. There's a necklace that has some designs on it and a little miniature in it, which means in this case that doesn't mean like a figure. That means like a miniature picture that's been painted in a silhouette, like you've done at school before. You made that picture where it had half your face in shadow. That's kind of, it's got one of those things.
Then was that the mistress of the house, wherever that bandit was?
You don't really know. Kaisar doesn't recognize any of the symbols on it, and Shield Boy wouldn't recognize any of them either. But there's that stuff.
What about Moon?
Would you ask Moon? Let me see.
Well, would Moon search either?
Well, other people search too. This is just what came to you guys out of the stuff. Because these were bandits out on a raid. These were not bandits carrying all their hoard with them. And this wasn't the leader of the bandits either. So, there's those things to consider. So, these are just some that had loot that they had taken personally.
Yep.
Alright. So, why don't you roll for whether Moon would know that? Just roll a d20, and we'll see if Moon would know it. No, you use the d20s you can.
The 3.
3. Moon doesn't know a lot of the houses outside of Crosstown and stuff because he's mainly been focused there and in the Enchanted
Maybe
Woods.
it's a foreign person.
Maybe.
That was traveling in or something.
It is possible, because this wasn't off of the veteran bandit, so he doesn't know where it came from. But, alright. So that is the things there. And that's the loot. So, is there anything else besides that you want to do before we get to a little bit of a crossroads in the journey?
Not a thing.
Sister's probably gonna be Beaky's probably gonna be, catching either birds or mice, trying to stake our food. So, she gets to go to the middle.
Oh.
She gets to shoo her booty onto the middle area.
Hail. Proper language.
So, nobody's doing specific things then. Alright.
Well, I might want to look around for anything interesting. Or maybe see if... I wanted more specifically to see if the bandits had, like, arrows or weapons. and or weapons that would be useful.
These didn't seem to be the most well prepared of the bandits, or these didn't seem to be particularly well prepared bandits. They obviously thought that this was just a caravan going back to the capital, yes, but that because of what had happened, it would be less defended or something. They were not prepared for what went on. So they were surprised with you guys. Which is fine. That works fine for y'all. The thing that I would put in there is that you do have you can look around for stuff if you want to notice, but it's you're basically having a night to sleep if you want it. So it's up to you. And you are back up to full health. There is a healer in the group. It was up with Moon. It's one of the basically clerics from one of the cleric priests from up in High Hill that had come down as part of the mission group in the mission to find Moon, find things, how things were across town, etc. So you are back at full health. Everybody's back at full health. So if you want to look around, you can. Otherwise, you're good.
Was there anything on that bandit guy that was the veteran bandit? Is there anything on him worth value? Much?
The veteran not specifically. He had gold. He's where you got your gold, mainly. So your wealth level is about the same, but it didn't change your wealth level, but you did have some gold from him. So you might have a little leeway when you get to High Hill.
Did the other bandits?
Everybody kind of split the loot up, bandits. There were basic swords and stuff like that. Nothing really better than you already have.
Could we trade some of the swords?
Not here, at High Hill maybe. But what I'm saying is you have a sword that is just as good as what they had right now.
Well, it's an iron saw sword.
Yeah, it's a saw blade. It's a serrated long blade, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what you have right now. So you don't really have a whole bunch that is... Right now you've got things that's something better, just as good as that. Not necessarily better, but just as good. So...
Did they have any... Well, you know what? I think that's it.
That's what you got? And you're done with what you want to do, sister? Aside from catching the blue jay? Okay.
Well, wait, did you say one of the feathers for me? Those things can be valuable, you know?
No.
She was over there eating it, apparently. So the next day rolls around, and go ahead and roll our travel rolls. Those are percentile dice as well. So roll your percentile dice for travel rolls.
Wait, what is the 0?
Just like last time.
Is that 4?
It's 40.
Oh, that's 40?
That's the 10's place. This is the 1's place.
95.
Okay, so I got 40.
95, 40, 95, and as long as no one gets 25 or below, because you've already had an encounter on this trip, y'all should be pretty good. So
Better not be rolling bad.
let's see. Nope, 76. Okay.
Yeah, you better not be rolling bad after that. Otherwise, somebody must have used an iron on one of those four-leaf clovers and pressed their luck too hard.
So, nothing comes up. The weather is a little spotty the first day.
Like sprinkles?
Yeah, kind of like sprinkly stuff. Nothing really
Heat
to
spurt?
delay anybody. But after that, the weather just cleared up. And everything looks nice and the travel is fine. And you make it to a crossroads. And at this particular fork in the road is more of a fork in the road than a crossroads.
One goes to Crosstown and one goes to...
No, you're coming from Crosstown. So
I mean, one
you've got
goes to the High Hill
Lord
and one
Farm.
goes to Lord Farm.
So there's Lord Farm, and then there's Lord's Farm, and then there is...
I don't see the map. Which way do we go?
it's up to you guys. That's what I'm saying. There's a signpost pointing which way leads where. So one of them goes to Lordstown and one of them goes to High Hill. Now you're going with Moon to High Hill. That's what you've been asked to do. Is that what you keep want to do, or do you want to go out and leave and go to Lord's Farm instead?
No, I want to go to High Hill.
Okay. So everybody's still going to High Hill then?
How about you, sister? You gonna venture off chasing a rat or something?
I honestly don't care.
Well, then we're going straight on to High Hill. So, High Hill is where y'all head out to, and with those travel rolls, nothing really comes out that is negative. In fact, it's actually nice weather. And
did we get any animals for meats?
well, nobody's really been focused on getting supplies because y'all took supplies with you, and it was only a few days' journey.
No.
Even traveling at the pace y'all did, it was only a few days' journey. So, you are coming into view as you've been going on. You've been steadily climbing a little bit, but then there's a definite increase in the slope. And you can see from a ways off.
Horses get pretty tired?
Well, that's why they let them rest in the night. You see off in the distance, as you've been traveling, you've been seeing a hill with a town on it, with actually a castle on it and a town around it. But in that, by the time you get to that where that slope increases, you can start to see and make out gray stone buildings mixed in occasionally with more colorful stones. And you know that this town that you're coming to is at the base of High Hill, and this is the town. Well, this is the town of High Hill.
Okay, so there's not there's not a super big class system where there's poor people and then normal and then average people and then rich people and then the king.
Well, you expect that there is probably a division in those districts, but High Hill itself is the more affluent of the places in the area of the Southern Colony.
So people
it is the capital of the Southern Colony.
So people aren't really poor or anything?
I mean, there are poor people everywhere.
I know,
but as far as the houses look, they don't look particularly dilapidated or
they just look medieval.
Broke down. Yeah.
Okay.
So you get these, and they actually do look nice. They look pretty and quaint at the very edges of High Hill. And these stone buildings are gray and other various types of stones that are gray, like granite and other things. But as you get further and further through High Hill, you can see that they use closer and closer towards the castle town walls. They use multicolored stones and red stone, and there's even some blue streaked stone and some really pretty places, some really expensive looking places, like some mansions as you get close to High Hill Castle and its great outer wall. You find a few mansions that seem to have marble built into parts of their archways that lead into their little courtyards and such. So,
wow, I wonder what type of fellow felines live here. Fancy aristocrats?
Aristocrats, most likely. But you see that there's also wood buildings mixed in, but apparently
buildings are nice too.
Right. Well, apparently the High Hill architecture is very much based around stone with wood to support it, rather than wood and then stone supporting that. So it's mostly stone buildings, and the walkway itself, the cobblestones themselves are also, well, stones. The whole city seems to have well-built roads. And,
so Roman roads?
Roman-styled cobblestone roads. And this is a slight shift from what you've been traveling on, but not a whole lot. It's what you would expect to see as a a more cultivated road would have as you got closer and closer to a city. And so you've come to High Hill. The roofs, there are a few thatched roofs, but a lot of them are shingled, and some of them even have stones for shingles. Flat stones that have been hewn for shingles.
Must need some pretty strong wood for that.
They probably do. And the larger houses do not have that type of shingling. They have what you expect,
Clay.
what you kind of see as most likely clay shingles. And
Well, is it an orange color, or is it a red color, or is it some fantasy color?
it depends. The richer houses seem to have mixed something in with their clay to either make their clay white or to make it other various colors. And you suspect that there may be some magical portions to that, because some of the house's shingles seem to shift in the light. Is there anything that you want to do right now? You're traveling to the castle.
I would like to see
moment.
if there's any weapon shops or food shops. Well, we don't need food, so I'd just like to see weapon shops.
You do see,
Because you said there was better stuff here, and I wanted to save my gold until I got here.
right.
Remember?
So you do see that there are some places that look like they're probably weapon shops. There are probably districts that you would need to go to within High Hill to find those specific weapon
Can I roll
shops.
perception?
You can roll a perception to see if you can pick some out. So that's going to be your perception, which is a d20 plus
1d4.
a d4. So,
This is a d4, correct?
yes.
A 14. 16.
16? Okay. And you're just looking yourself? You're not asking anybody that you're
Well,
traveling?
I want to ask if anybody sees kind of some shops that would be weapon shops.
Okay, so roll your d4 again, and if it's higher than the 2, take that result.
It's a 3.
So 3. So it's 1 more. You definitely...
17.
You don't see a specific shop, but you see someone who is bearing a handcart that they themselves push down and move around, which were kind of common in medieval times to have that. That smaller cart does have actual weapons in it, and it seems to be going down a side road. It's not an alley. It is a road. So wagons can get up and down it, and there is two-way traffic on it.
Tell him can I ask Kaiser exactly where we're going, and then Moon exactly where we're going, and then try and
Well,
or do I need to
Moon
wait?
says that if you leave the caravan now, you'll probably have to wait to get in until he's done talking with the Duke, which could take to get into the castle, which could take a day or two.
I guess
so-
I'll just go with them and do it later.
Okay, well, what I was going to say is that you see that handcart guy. He's going down what's called Hammer Row. That there's a little signpost for the street, and it says Hammer Row. So that's where you guess that there's most likely going to be your best bet for not just weapons, but armor or any type of smithing that you're looking for. So,
Like maybe some better light armor, maybe some more protection. I don't know. I just want to beat them up more. For if you throw something huge at us, like that dragon defense thorn goblin you threw at us at the Dayton Family Schoolhouse place.
in the Adventure Academia.
Mm-hmm.
That won't happen because I'm checking those. But, so you need to remember Hammer Row, and you need to
We
remember...
still ended up almost beating before time ran out.
Mhm. So you need to remember Hammer Row is where most of that's going to be.
Of course, you're going to do a cliffhanger before we ever get to go there.
Well, you probably won't get to go there this time because you're just going into the castle, right? Okay, so you guys are headed to the castle. Is there anything that Habiki wants to do before you actually go into the castle?
cat. Wait, no, she wants to go to
At the mic.
She wants to go to a food cellar and look for mice.
I'm gonna follow in through the windows, watching them. Not
So-
really being seen.
Well, right now you're on the caravan, so you can just kind of hop off the caravan when you get into the castle, if you want to, and tool around. Not many people are paying a lot of attention to the cat. If you don't draw attention to yourself. Now, you have to make your hat disappear for them not to pay attention to you.
Otherwise, you're a
Because you're a cat wearing a hat.
I just stole it from a hat
Wait a
shop, not
second.
much.
cat in a hat. What? Are you the cat in the hat?
So I'd have to...
Are you the cat in the hat's ghost?
Your hat's made of shadow magic, right? Okay, well you can just... It's not a hard thing to do. You're not under any pressure, so you can just make it disappear if you want to.
Like, and formulate it into your
I'll make it
body.
disappear.
Like, make it go inside of your brain, and then you'll have a hat flapping at your brain whenever you walk.
So, you're sitting in Shield Boy's lap, and he's petting you, and then all of a sudden you kind of get up, stretch, and just, as things come to a stop, you kind of hop off, and when you do, your hat kind of melds into your own shadow, so that when you hit the ground, you're not wearing your hat in, and you look around, and you just kind of trot off around the castle.
What's Shield Boy
Grounds.
like after seeing that happen?
So you can follow if you want to, follow them if you want to, or not.
You know, what's Shield Boy doing after that happens?
He's kind of watches go. Shield Boy is mute, so he can't say anything, but he kind of watches her go. So waves at the kitty as it goes bye-bye. So that's what he does.
Kitty, go bye-bye.
No. So you've made it to the castle. The castle itself does kind of live up to its hype. Most of its castles in the time period that we're talking about are the allegorical reference to the time period we're talking about. Had multiple buildings within them, usually connected through other means. And this is about the same. You see that there is a central keep
That's huge.
that is probably like 5 stories tall.
And it has a dome on top, and the king's inside there as the main building. And then there's little little decks or balconies, whatever it is, on the inside. And
It
everybody.
looks like the roofs on it are either conical, cone-like if they are on a tower, which there are 4 towers at the points of each keep.
Typical.
Each point of the keep, and then there is you can tell there's another spot up there that has a roof on it, but it is not as large and tall, and it is pointed but not a cone, so it is probably a 4 square building on top of this one. The keep is right there. You see the smaller buildings their roofs are painted
Are these
red to
towers
match.
round or are they square?
The corner towers are. The towers along the edges in the wall of the Castletown wall, where the inner part of the city of High Hill is, it has matriculations and various different things along it to make it more defensible, and most likely why it was so well put together and so well furnished, because this colony has been very prosperous in different ways.
And maybe they got some mythical wood or enchanted wood that's strong enough to hold up their cannons and stone.
Well, they
the
definitely have used magic. You can tell. There seems to be several buildings, and in this area, the keep is there, and then you can tell there's a scullery, type of larger eating hall there as well, but it is not attached to the keep. It is its own thing, set aside there for the king's use, as well as if he wants to, but not the king, but the duke's use. But also there is
The king usually has his own big dining table that's 30 miles long, and that he says, "Could you pass the salt?" And the other person doesn't even hear him.
Uh-huh.
And he has to yell at the top of his lungs or get somebody to go. And it takes days to get to the other side because the person has to run all the way to the other side.
So there's that, and then there is the other things that you would expect to see, like a devoted fuller to the actual king, taking care of the king's stables and stuff like that, and all that stable new.
Do they have
There's all those different things.
Do they have Pegasi?
You don't see any, but there has been rumors that the king, the Duke of the Southern Colony, has a special mount that he uses.
Is it a Pegasi?
A
winged horse?
You don't know.
Wait, is winged the correct word to use?
Winged. You would say it that way. Some people say it winged. You can do that. But you have basically a characteristic town, but there is off to, I guess it would be the west portion. It seems inside this part of the castle town city is where the academics are also housed near the castle, right in with the castle, inside the walls. And you can tell because its roof does not match directly with the roof of the castle and its associated buildings. The roof to the mages area seems to be associated with, and the higher learning ones, seems to have an alternating blue and white pattern in its shingles.
Okay.
So that's where that is, and there's obvious greenery in the courtyard and things like that if you want to deal with that. All the cobblestones are actually kept white through what you would assume is magic, but
water pressure magic, and they move it through it. And they move the water through the stones and stuff, kind of. Like,
so, everybody stopped. The whole caravan has stopped. The messengers and Moon are going to go in and actually meet with the Duke.
But what about me?
So, do you guys want to go in with the Duke to see the Duke?
Are pets allowed? Are pets allowed?
Are pets allowed? Well, you don't know.
Okay.
There are guard dogs at the front.
I'll be a dog and I'll go, woof woof.
So,
no? What?
There's guard dogs at the door,
What does it
but
look
I
like?
assume Habiki has avoided them.
Habiki's probably went into one of our shadows and is lurking in the shadow, ready to pop out of somebody else's shadow.
She can try and do a concealment.
Do that to get past the
Be sneaky.
I don't care. Like,
dogs have hypersense nose powers.
Cats land on their feet. Dogs do not. Like the clumsy oafs they are.
Oh, is that how Habiki thinks about it?
Yeah.
And then I turn into a dog and you're like, hiss.
No. Are y'all going in to the
Yes, I
Duke's
would
area
like
or
to
not?
try and go in. And
Okay.
if they don't, the
I'm not
guard
even
dogs
in
are
the
probably gonna bite at us. There's a giant red wasp over there.
Well,
I'm not even in the castle.
well, you're in the castle courtyard area.
Yeah.
You're in the castle.
Would you like to enter the castle?
Are you going to
It'll
go
be easier to
into
do
and
stuff.
speak with and see them speak with the Duke or not?
No.
Okay.
That means you
Are
won't
you?
know whatever he says. Yes, I plan on it.
Are you?
Yes, I plan on it.
Okay.
And
so
then
you and
if
Shield
I
Boy.
get bored, I'll just make shapes with my hands and with my shapes.
Uh-huh. So you go in, and the hall itself, you can tell that it's meant to be meeting. It's meant for meeting people.
And
There's
that's
the
why
foyer portion.
it's meant for meeting people, so they make it look really pretty and stuff because they're meeting people and sometimes other kings.
Well, there seems to be a couple antechambers, a foyer and then an antechamber.
It's an antechamber.
Ante means before, chamber is a chamber, so it's an antechamber. You've got the foyer where you've entered into, which is a smaller area for any kind of cloaks or things like that. And they don't take your clothes or anything.
I
but
will
they,
be polite and put my coat where it belongs.
Well, they don't take it. They don't there's nowhere for it to go right now because that's not really what this place is for.
Oh.
It's for waiting. So they have some seats there and things, but this is where you go to ask admittance. Now, y'all don't have to worry about that because y'all are coming with a set of messengers from the Duke himself. So, you go in.
Would he be weirded out by my pitch black sparkling eyes? Or
You'll
should
see.
I conceal them?
Well, you don't know. You go in and
Because
you don't wait very long.
They are a little bit bigger than normal eyes. As in they're a little bit... They're just a tad bigger. Is all. Of course, they're not bulging or anything.
Just a birth defense.
If you know what I'm saying, bruh.
I understand what you're saying.
Deficiency.
Defect is the word you're looking for.
Deficiency.
So you've entered into that little front area. And like I said, you don't wait long because you are part of that answering party. The chamber you enter next is where most of the sitting is done. You do have to wait because there are other people that have come to meet the Duke. And you can tell, actually, you're not there, Illy? Are you Habiki there or not?
She's still in the courtyard.
She's in the courtyard?
You said she would be watching from the windows. You usually don't castles. Well, no, that's a modern idea. Never mind.
The keep does not have. It has slits, but not windows in the lower portion. So, in that, it's hard to watch from the lower windows. You'd have to get up into the higher windows.
I'm making my way, but I'm not going into.
I'm making my way, but I'm not going into the castle just yet.
You're trying to make your way around to a window? Okay, well, so we'll do that in two different ways.
Cat.
So first we'll say, first let's address that. You are trying to find a way in up to the window without going through the main door, right?
Why? Oh.
Roll
dogs,
a perception check to see if you can pick out a good spot.
What dog?
So, what is her perception?
Her perception is just a D20.
Just a D20? Okay.
You should have beefed that up.
Now,
cats have good eyes, usually.
well, it's alright if she didn't this time, but you can roll a D20,
One D20.
and you can also roll another D20 with advantage because you're not under any pressure, and, you know, this is probably not the first time that Habiki has gone somewhere that she's not supposed to be and been sneaky and stuff.
She probably went into a fish store and stole some rare fishies. Didn't you, you little sneaky?
I don't know that.
Just a maybe.
Okay.
That's a 19, baby.
A 19 and...
That is
3?
22.
Well, rolling with advantage means that you keep the better.
Oh, 19 then.
So 19. So 19 is plenty. You do find a window that is open. It's high up and you'll have to climb up to it. But you think you see a way to climb up the ivies and the growth that is
And
on
he goes
it
like
to get up there.
like our cats do on the poles down there and go down, 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 all over the pole and then make it really loud and annoying when we're trying to make food.
So, you've got that. That's what you're going to do next. Now we go to Kaisar. Kaisar is having... roll a perception check for him.
What do I use? Oh, wait.
I assume he's listening to what other people are saying around him about
Yes,
why they're there.
Yes.
So, what's your perception? I think you said it was a D4, right?
Yeah, it's a D4 and a D20.
Okay, so roll that up.
17.
Okay.
And a 4! That's a
Oh,
nat
that
4!
explodes. So 17 plus 4 is...
Oh, just a 1, but that's 22.
So 17 plus 4 is...
21.
Plus 1.
That's 22.
22.
I told you the total.
So, you're able to, through listening and things, just watching what other people are doing. You've kind of kept to yourself, and you
Also,
can tell that...
Wait, no, they never really know where I'm looking because my whole eye is black. They never...
That's partially true. You can kind of tell when even creatures that have dark eyes, you can kind of tell when their eyes are moving.
Black. I mean, you could tell when they're moving, slightly, but
Right.
it's completely black with just shimmers.
So you see, you observe that you're not the only strange creature here. One. In fact, seems to be there's dwarves, which is somewhat surprising. The Iron Stronghold, you would have heard about this. The Iron Stronghold has a deep rivalry, and it really borders on antagonistic behavior sometimes with High Hill, because the dwarves of the Iron Stronghold claim to have been here first, but they can't really prove it, and High Hill claims to have been here first, and they've submitted, they've done their diplomacy back and forth, and they did have some really hot conflict at one time. There was battles and fighting and death.
You mean the area between the two, like right between the two where with Death Valley or something?
The valley between the two, the valley of they call it the Dead Valley, or the Valley of Death, because almost all of their battles were there, and there was just so much that it started to attract undead. It started to attract necromantic forces just from all the death that was there. So that doesn't happen as much anymore, but
there's probably still some people, there's probably still some necromancers around that when a war goes on and finishes, they scoop up some bodies, experiment on them.
Well, no wars have been fought in the past several years, bordering on a few decades now.
How much? Are decades 10?
Each decade is 10, yes.
Okay, so a few decades, so like in the teens?
30 or 40 years.
Oh, 30 or 40 years.
Almost, I mean, that's not very long to a dwarf, but it is bordering closer. It's closer to 100 than it is to not.
So does that mean that Kaisar, since he has the ageless, would keep as long as he's not killed, of course, would just keep living?
You don't know.
On, because he has the ageless. It says right here that he has ageless as
that is one of his perks.
Which means
if he's not killed by if he's not killed by violent means, then he will probably keep living.
Which also, if you guys haven't watched episode 0, which is where we made Moon, and the first one, and then Kaisar, you can see that there in more detail.
So, that is that. The next thing that you glean, the next thing that you see the dwarf. You also see that there's at least one person from the Fae Court that Moon actually goes over and talks to.
He probably knows her because he's most likely been back and forth a few times.
Well, she seems to be one of the larger, the Fae in this area. The sprites are they can change their size really far. So you've got sprites that are usually about,
and some fantasies,
puffball.
Sprites are this big.
Right. The sprites in this setting are kind of like puffball, the size of, I guess, a softball or maybe a big grapefruit.
And some could be like those flying white seeds, right?
Yes, like that. And they are about the size of a big grapefruit or a softball with wings. That's how they usually are. But when they're going to meetings like this, they grow into the size, they change their shape and size into kind of like a very thin, wiry, ethereal kind of feeling child-sized person.
Well, can't they
with
change
wild hair and
can't they change their form?
Yes, that's what they change into.
I know, but can't they change their form like Kaiser?
No, not without other magics. They have to. All sprites in this setting do this.
Maybe Kaisar was.
So the group, you see that in sprite, and then you see that that's not. It is not common for the sprites, and you get this from Moon's interaction with them. It is not common for the sprites to leave, and she's one of the Fae Court there that didn't leave a lot. So for her to be out means that there's been some change in the way the Fae Court is behaving.
Which means some of them might have been taken.
Possibly. They might have disappeared or something like that.
And now they think that spreads them.
So you have that one, you have the dwarf, and you have these other creatures there as well. And you're not sure where they're from. They look kind of reptilian. They look like kind of reptile people.
Probably from the marshes below the mountains.
It's
on the map.
Maybe. And you see this mix of creatures. And
do I see any?
So you've seen this mix of creatures, and it takes about 30 minutes, almost an hour of waiting to get everything situated. And you coming out, you see the rest of the Fae delegation coming out, and they discuss quickly with Moon what's going on, but it's the turn of the mission that came out, the messengers that came from High Hill. It is their mission next to go in. It is their turn next to go in. And so that's where we're going to kind of finish up. You walk in and you see the king as you walk, not the king, the duke, as you walk into the hall. There's pillars, about 8 of them, leading down to where he would be, or straight to where he would be. The carpet is there, and in between each pillar is a tapestry that has what you think would most likely be stories about different people, because it does look like they're about different people. It doesn't look like they are one person specifically. So these tapestries are hanging there in between those columns, and it's high up. It is probably 20 feet, these columns, and those tapestries come down and tell a large story, and there's still about 10 feet of clearance between the bottom of them and the floor. So these are 10-foot tapestries hanging along there, and there are several arrow slits that are long enough and tall enough that the light shines in and offers actual natural light in this area. As you go forward, you see there are some arrangements and furniture to the sides and stuff like that for advisors, and actual books are over there, and things where you have the recorder, the writer, the scribe, and there's probably, as you get closer to where the Duke sits, you will see the mage associate and the specific alchemist there for that, and that's usually on the left side as you walk in. And then on the right side, you see mostly the mundane things like the guard. The guard changes out right there, you would suspect, and stuff like that. And then in the middle, on a slight dais, slight podium up, you see both the Duke and his Duchess. The king has horns that curve backward that are black, and his black horns meet down onto his forehead and his skin, which seems to be varying shades of red. You have a deeper red up towards where his hair is. He does not look to be a demon. I'm explaining. His hair, where his hair and scalp meet up, it's very dark to go along with his hair, but as it goes down, he gets lighter and lighter. So he has red. By the time it gets to his chest, it's starting to get to a lighter red, and by the time it reaches down to his arms, where his hands are, you can tell it's more of a pink. So he's shaded in red. has a gradient.
What, did somebody drop some magic paint on him?
So that's him, and he is dressed well, as you would expect a duke to be. And you see that he doesn't wear a crown, but his horns have cuffs on them that you would suspect kind of delineate, kind of designate him as an important person. And to his left, his wife, his Duchess, she has skin that looks almost metallic. And it is a kind of silvery blue. And her hair is a white with gold, you can't tell how many streaks of gold in it, but a large streak of gold for sure stretches back from the top of her right eye, where it would meet up with the hairline, and goes backward. And that silver and gold kind of motif she carries into, and that bluish color she accentuates with her clothes that are these ornate robes of a deep royal blue. And you have seen the Duke and Duchess. And we need to cut off there. We are almost at time. So, that has been this episode.
Didn't really do a lot.
We got here.
Yeah, but
I, for one, am proud of myself for being a cat and not a human that looks like a cat.
Uh-huh.
well, Kaiser,
Okay.
if he turned into a cat, would be bigger than you, I think, and wouldn't be a human that's turned into a cat.
Probably because he's turned into like a bobcat, or like a lion.
Well, he
Okay.
can only go down to 3 feet, I think.
So, that is that. We hope you enjoyed this one. Next time we will get to, depending on how much they want to roleplay, we'll get into meeting the Duke and Duchess and get all of that done. And I don't think we will have a whole bunch of shifting after that, because they need to figure out what they want to do. They need to make some choices on where they want to go to and what adventure they want to have. So, Lord willing, that'll all come out pretty easily for them, and they'll make that decision and be able to get on it by the next time. I think that's everything. Any final announcements or remarks for the people before we sign off?
No.
What about you, sis? No. All right. Well, then that means we hope you have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
Stay chatty, fish cakes.
Uh-huh.
This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.